Hey, what's up guys, I'm Brighthorn and welcome back to Victoria 3 as we are playing as the United States. So in the last episode I had a pinned comment that showed, well, there's a lot of stuff in that pinned comment, but the primary thing that I wanted to post in there was the casualties and the cost from that war, since we didn't get a chance to look at it. And that was based off of the April 1st autosave. Obviously, you know, you can only go off of the autosaves here, but I did want to go and show you guys that for those of you who missed that comment. This is our current save, because I did build a few things here, so I want to make sure that we have that saved. But yeah, we're going to hop into this autosave here from April 1st. And just take a look at the casualties and the cost for those of you guys who missed that pinned comment and might be curious how the war went overall. So as far as our overall casualties, they were pretty low for us specifically. Now for our allies, not so much, but yeah, for us it was quite low. So with the United States, you'll see from battle we took 7.63 thousand casualties and 9.07 thousand from attrition, and that's just not casualties, that's death. The deaths specifically. Casualties, if you count wounded, is going to be a lot higher. But overall, that's 16, almost 17,000 deaths. So I mean, given what we won, it's not that bad, I suppose. Obviously, every American life lost is tragic. We've got the wounded here. You notice the number of wounded is a lot higher than deaths, and that's actually not normal. But France took an obscenely high number of deaths from attrition. I'm guessing going through those mountains and fighting in Africa probably also had its effects. In the Caribbean, they were fighting in areas that would have, they were over here. They're fighting in areas that would have the higher attrition. So, yeah, they took extremely high deaths from attrition, 241,000 compared to only 28.4 thousand from battle. So with the wounded, we took about 28,000 or so casualties when it comes to the wounded. France actually lost less from wounded than they did from deaths. Then the cost of the war was high, but not as high as I was thinking it was going to be. It was about 2-point-something million. And I think a big part of that is because we didn't really raise up that many troops, not as many troops as we typically have to raise to fight those great powers, but we had France as an ally, so that was one reason why we didn't have to raise as many troops up. And then also we were really late with raising those troops up. I mean, we had, what was that, like half of our standing army just sitting around for the majority of the war because I couldn't raise them up due to not having control of that general. So that was a big chunk of our army that we weren't even mobilizing because of that bug. So that saved us a lot of money as well. But you can see exactly where those costs came from, and the majority of it was from military goods. But there's a pretty high cost for those conscripts that we raised up as well, and we didn't even raise that many up. Again, our army overall is fairly small compared to the other countries, so our costs weren't quite as high. But look at those costs for France, guys. That's like 10, almost 11 million. So pretty high for them. I was expecting us to be not quite that high. I was thinking somewhere around 5 million is what I was expecting. So it's actually lower cost than I was anticipating. Now that doesn't consider everything that goes into it, just the military goods and the conscript wages. Now military goods, I think, would consider the wages for your standing army as well. It could be from the conscript wages here, but that specifically says conscript wages, so I'm not entirely sure where those are considered. But yeah, overall, I think the cost was not quite as high as I was expecting. I think a lot of the cost that we were spending was going into the building. We were building that entire time, and that has its cost as well. And of course, you can see where the Danish fall on this as well. But looking at our enemies, so Spain, I mean, this is only Spain and Cuba, because Britain's already out of the war at this point. But Spain took a lot of casualties too. That's almost 200,000 casualties there. 200,000, almost 200,000 deaths. Because yeah, Cuba only lost, of those 204,000, Cuba only lost about 8,000 of that. Of the wounded, yeah, quite a bit there as well. So a lot of casualties for Spain. Their costs are actually comparable to ours. Just shows you how few troops that we raised up there. Now, they paid less than the conscript wages, but more in the military goods, it looks like. But yeah, comparable costs that they spent. But we'll see, obviously France, that was extremely expensive for them, but we'll see that for the British, that was quite expensive as well. We're going to take a look at the March 1st, and, do keep in mind that they were not out of the war yet, for several weeks, I think, maybe mid-March. I'm not entirely sure when they left the war, but this wouldn't be their total cost. So let's go ahead and take a peek at their casualties. So with just the British here, about 20,000 dead from battle, 74,000 from attrition. So good chunk of soldiers dead. Not as much as France, but certainly a lot more than we lost. The wounded looks like might have had less wounded, perhaps. Oh no, definitely not. Yeah, they had more wounded than they did dead. So over 100,000. It's like 100 and I don't know, 30 something, 140,000. The cost was not as high as France, but way higher than us or Spain, with that 4.82 million in military goods and 421,000 in conscripts. So very expensive war, specifically for France and Britain, and that just kind of shows you how expensive it can really get. We didn't really raise up that many troops, and that's the reason why it wasn't so expensive for us. It could have been much, much worse, but still, even then, £2 million is not a small number. Over £2 million, that's not a small number, and you can see we're in a little bit of debt here, but we'll eventually want to crawl out of that. But remember, we can't actually demobilize our troops because we're still in this little war right now. So unfortunately, I won't be able to demobilize until this is over. And again, it just doesn't make sense the way the system is. Like, we have all this army, this huge army, and so does France. We have these large armies raised up right now, and we can't demobilize them because we got this little tiny conflict over here. We don't even need this many troops, but there's nothing we can do about it. So France is paying for this massive army while they're fighting this little conflict over here. So yeah, it doesn't it doesn't really make sense the way that mechanic works, but it is what it is. But let's go and take a look at our new territory that we just got, Cuba. So as far as the buildings go, you'll see that they have some iron mines, coal mines, fishing wharves. A few of these. These aren't always going to be necessary, aren't going to be all that useful. We have all this kind of stuff. What is going to be useful is sugar, coffee, and the fruit. So fruit, we were really only able to get that through certain production methods for our farms. We didn't have banana plantations, so we didn't really have a good way to get the fruit outside of changing production methods, which also means you would lose something. So now fruit is very cheap in our country. So cheap, these people here might not be very profitable. Do keep in mind that the #1 banana plantations, #1 in the world thing, this is always like this. If we clicked on any building, it would say that. Until updates. You gotta let it play after you just load up the game. So those are not the #1s. We'd have to let it go, I don't know, at least a day, maybe a week, for it to update this. But yeah, we have coffee. That's something we're currently trading for. Now coffee is incredibly cheap, so we're probably going to want to stop trading for coffee so that they can remain profitable. And then sugar. I think we might be trading for that as well. So now sugar is super cheap. Tobacco and the rice farms, the grain, these are not as necessary, but yeah, the rest of the stuff is useful here. So we got some useful stuff. I don't know how long it's going to take for this state in taxes to pay off the cost of the war. I don't really know, guys. You'd have to do the math, because this is their GDP. So, like, how much are you getting in taxes? You're not getting, a huge amount of that. So how much are you getting in taxes from their 2.86 million in GDP that they're bringing in, which is a sizable amount of our total GDP, I suppose, 4.3% right now. So that's not bad. Not bad at all. Much better than some of the states we currently have. But not our richest states, of course. If you look at like New York, New York's 8.81 million. Pennsylvania is even more at 9.57 million, with a very good standard of living here in Pennsylvania. You can see our favoritism there. Massachusetts here, 3.39 million. So Cuba's a decent state when it comes to their overall GDP. But yeah, I don't know how long would it take to pay it off. You'd have to do the math. As far as like that cost, the lives lost weren't that bad. You certainly make up for that with that population you gain. But yeah, do the math and say just how much this is. How much are you getting from this based on taxes? I'm not entirely sure. Now, I can't actually look at that right now. Normally, I would be able to. Because they're an unincorporated state, they're not paying any taxes, I don't think. So, yeah, you'll see all the unincorporated states down here aren't paying any taxes. You can only see what they're costing us in government expenses. So, yeah, they're just costing us money until we incorporate them. That's one of the things. Like, you're getting benefits. You're getting all these resources into your market. So there are benefits of having the colonial or unincorporated states or whatever, but you're not getting taxes. So that's the reason why I can't tell you how much we'd actually be getting from them yet. We'd have to add them, and then then we can figure out how much we're going to make from them and see how long it takes to pay itself off and see if that was a profitable war or not. But yeah, this is our current state here. As far as what we might need to do here, you can see that the market access is too low, so that needs to be solved. And while ports do give market access, and I think you do have to have at least one port here for them to have access to the markets because they're an island, it's not really the best way for us to get more infrastructure because it only adds 10. And so that's really not the best way to go there. And that's for 2 of them. So if we just increased it by 1, I think you're only going to get an extra 5. Yeah, because I think we're getting 10 total here for the 2 of them. So if we wanted to really boost the infrastructure up as high as we need to, because you can see that's pretty bad. Part of that's being caused by the devastation, but that's not the main reason. We just need more infrastructure. It's no longer the capital of a country here. So yeah, the best way to do this would build the railroads. You can see that they would add quite a bit more. I think it's 20. So we should probably prioritize that, get ourselves some rails here. That's not going to be quite enough. So we might need to build another one there, maybe get a port, get another port there. I suppose we could do that. We'll take a look and see if anything changes. Let's go and take them up to the top since they're going to be affecting our market pretty heavily. So go and throw that up at the top there, get that railway done, and then we'll see how they affect the market once they have full access to it. I do expect we're gonna have to close down some of these buildings, guys. They have 22,000 unemployed, but no peasants really. 22.4 thousand. Yeah, that's the number of unemployed. So 0 peasants, or it's insignificant amounts. So basically, I think because not all these buildings are fully employed, and several of them actually really lack employees, I think it's pretty clear that we're probably going to have to reduce some of these buildings in size. We're just not going to have the workers to keep them going. So we'll change that up, guys, eventually. We'll wait, let those unemployed get hired. We'll see what's left. Spain has entered their rivalry with us. Again, I didn't expect we'd have any issues once the war was over. So now that conflict is over, we can see what our finances look like. Now that we're not paying for all that. And also what our market looks like. So there's a week. Yeah, we're still losing tons of money because we still have a massive military, guys. It's massive compared to what we used to have. Of course, it's not that large of an army compared to some other countries, but this is 61 battalions when we used to have, 20? Maybe 30? Yeah, something like that. Not a lot is the point. And so we're paying for a lot more troops than we were paying for. And I don't think I actually want to reduce that number. We could reduce the cost, but, we have future conflicts that we're going to be doing. And why do that? Why take their jobs? We'll just keep them, guys, and we'll just pay for them. It is what it is. We could always reduce military wages if we have to. But yeah, I think obviously we have some severe economic issues here. The interest is 3.41 thousand. That can really add up. So that's one thing to think about when it comes to debt spending. But really what we're going to need to do is just get our economy sorted out as best as possible and then stop constructing for a little while to fix this problem here. So yeah, that's what we'll do. We're going to go further in debt for a little while, as I expected that to be the case. And you see we are earning more and more money here, so. And we could always mess with the production methods as well. We got reinforced concrete, So 15% construction sector building throughput. Okay, so that'll be helpful. But yeah, what we need to do is stop building, I think. So we're gonna have to rely on production methods to fix the cost of anything. So we see that lead and sulfur, a little bit expensive, maybe make some adjustments there. And then glass is still expensive even after we built that one factory, though it is coming down some. Maybe we should give it a second for them to get some employees and stuff. It's actually going up in cost. The glass is not better, so we might want to change that up. We're already fixing the furniture. We got stuff building there. Lead needs to be adjusted. Paper, maybe iron as well. Yeah. All right, so let's go and take a look at these production methods. So with the glass, we already know we have some different options here, I believe. With the crystal glass, it does increase the cost of wood, which isn't that bad right now. And then lead, we can make adjustments there. So I think we'll be okay. Glass is really the problem. I don't think we want to make adjustments to all these. Yeah, I think we should pick and choose here. Yeah, we'll do Florida there. Pennsylvania, we've already switched them over to crystal glass. It's hard to tell the difference here. It's like a slight difference. So we've already been kind of slowly adjusting some of these over to crystal glass. And we'll do Ohio as well. And then just take a look and see where the costs have gone there. Paper mills is another one we have an option for adjusting over to the paper bleaching. Dye is not as expensive as it was, so we could go ahead and adjust some of these. Might not want to adjust them all just yet. Kind of just slowly do it. Figure out how the costs are affected there. And yeah, we don't have any problem with the services right now, so don't need to do that. So I know there's a couple other things that were really expensive, and they were in mining. Lead, I think, was one of them. So I believe we were switching over to dynamite here. Let's just switch them all over to dynamite. And that will still result in lead being expensive according to this, but also going to make explosives expensive, but that's okay. Sulfur, that might help. Producing more sulfur. So that's going to make it very cheap. So that'll help with the explosives, since, well, actually that will make the explosive industry do very well, because explosives are expensive and sulfur is cheap here. So what we'll want to do is let's let this play out. I know I forgot some things, guys. Lead obviously is a problem. And North Germans are now going to New York. We're going to have a lot of Germans in our country, I think. Explosives aren't that bad, honestly. But lead, clearly, we're going to need to build lead mines. And this is the thing. You're always like, oh, I'm not going to build anymore. And then you're like, well, I got to build this. And then I got to build this. And I got to build this. And before you know, you're just still building years after you said you're gonna stop. So just looking at how much they can provide here, and I'm thinking building it in Arkansas. Yeah, let's build 2 up in Arkansas. All right, excellent. So yeah, that's really the only expensive thing here is that lead. Everything else is actually doing pretty well. So we could stop building and be just fine once we get all that done, I think. Yeah, I think we're good to go, although remember we have the adjustments we have to make with Cuba still, so we'll see what happens there. So they did not get anywhere near the infrastructure done there that we needed them to, so again, here we are, still building, guys. Now, I think part of the problem, of course, is they don't have all the employment here yet, so we need to let that build up. Okay. So once they build that up, they'll get up to 20 infrastructure, but that'll still result in them being short. It'll still be a problem. But yeah, we'll take a look how much exactly they need. I think you just build the port up and you'll be okay. So I think that's what we're going to do. We'll just build the port up. Just try and get that infrastructure up a little bit higher. So we got this, the 25% war exhaustion reduction from casualties. The war's over, obviously. But it would be helpful for the future conflicts. So we're done with military research for a little while, I think. Let's work on production and society research. We'll take a look at all our options. We haven't looked in here for a little while. Kind of feel like electricity would probably be our best option. Yeah, I almost feel like electricity. Start getting that built up. Might be our best option. We'll take a look at the society ones as well, because these are typically passive bonuses, so it's kind of nice. You don't have to build anything. So we'll see if there's anything in here that will be super helpful for us. I think we've already got the majority of the ones we really need. Yeah, so production clearly makes most sense. Go after the electrical generation. That takes a lot of investment to really get the most out of it. So hopefully we can... We're not making any profit there anymore. But let's just wait before we make any crazy changes here. There's also a secession movement that's possible in Cuba. But yeah, I don't think that's going to be happening right now. But they're very pissed off at us. So it would behoove us to try and fix their problems here. Get that turmoil down. Now, I imagine it's going down, right? No, it's going up. Alright. So yeah, we need to... We don't really have any authority here, do we? Maybe we should stop suppressing the southern planters. Because what I'm thinking we would want to do here... Stop suppressing the southern planters for a little while. We've been doing this for some time. So now that we have some authority to play around with, let's take a look at our potential decrees. We can't issue violent suppression because of the guaranteed liberties being enacted, and that's probably not the best way to go about bringing them into the country anyways. We could do the welfare payments. I suppose we'll try that out. I don't think that's the issue here, but yeah, we'll try that out. I don't think this would make things better. It might actually make things worse because the education access, higher literacy, will make them more likely to be politically active. Could try and assimilate and convert them. I don't think they are. Yeah, so you can't even do that. You could try and have more people migrate there. I suppose that's an option. And then you're getting like more people who might be loyalists coming to the country. And also that's jobs. That's potential jobs. Or you could do something like this here, which might actually, just improve their economic situation. We'll do this one, guys. So we're going to do two of these here, really use our authority to try and fix the problems in Cuba, our newly conquered state here, unincorporated state or colony, whatever you want to call it. Our territory, that's what we'll call it here. So yeah, we're going to need to fix their economic situation through the buildings, because yeah, they're not doing well here. So there's not enough employment here for the fishing wharf, so we're going to go ahead and pull back there. We also don't really need more fish. So pull back there, because yeah, they can't even keep them all employed. Here, with the coffee plantations, we could make a lot of money if we just cut back trade there. Some of this stuff's probably not even worth all that much, yeah, like the tobacco. However, they're fully employed. So if they were like firing people, I'd want to do something there. But as long as they're not firing people, then it's probably best that we don't pull from there. Yeah, I don't think we should do it that way. The rice farms, again, same deal here. They're not actually having employee issues like the fish are, the fishing wharfs. So we'll just leave this as is. They technically have free peasants to cover jobs. I think it's just that it wasn't any value there in that. We do need to help fix the problem here by stopping a trade for coffee. That'll make coffee very expensive, and will help our colony out here, our territory. Still need to trade for those dyes. Yeah, we definitely need the dyes. The luxury clothes, yeah, we don't really need to have that many routes. We'll keep them going. We're no longer trading for sugar. I thought we were, but we're not. Could trade the artillery away again just to make that money, since we are producing a lot of it. So it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it's not really all that expensive though. But you see, we're not really doing a whole lot of trade right now. Is there anything that would be really good for exporting? Probably. You see all that stuff there. Let me just actually take a peek and see how things are going. Like, sugar's extremely cheap. There's no money in sugar right now. So I think we should export the sugar. And maybe the tobacco as well. Yeah. So let's export tobacco and sugar. Yeah, I think that would be good. So yeah, we'll start with the sugar, exporting that to just wherever it's going to be most profitable. Though I don't know if we want to grant that much out. Let me just see what's how bad is it? Yeah, we're looking at like maybe 500 or so at most. And that's what the French want. Yeah, 577. So it is the most profitable route. They clearly badly need sugar there. But I don't know if we should build it up that high. I suppose we could always step up sugar production. Yeah, why not? Let's help the French out. So we'll trade the sugar there, help their market out, and also help our own market out. And then the tobacco as well. We're going to go ahead and export some of that to see where we can get a bit of value. The French, again, want, I think, probably too much. Yeah, we're not looking to trade that much away. And we probably wouldn't trade that much because it would end up not being profitable. But yeah, I don't think we're going to trade, despite the high cost there, I don't think we're going to trade with the French on this one. Let's just do like a little trade. Because again, the tobacco isn't that expensive. And I know these guys were just an enemy, but I don't look at them as an eternal enemy or anything like that. I did set that up, right? It looked almost like it popped back up. Let me just kind of double check, make sure that ended up working out there. Yeah. Okay. So we're trading off those goodies, and that should help out the markets, or excuse me, the buildings that are trading those. So we'll see those prices get more expensive. And coffee is actually very expensive now. So that's going to enrich those coffee plantations there. So there is that. Yeah, there's a lot of pop consumption of it. Yeah, I think might just leave it high for now to enrich these buildings a little bit. Enrich the people of Cuba. You know, if we make their lives fantastic, you know, maybe they'll be more likely to be a loyalist over a radical. Because, yeah, we're having some very high radicals. Look at that. Almost all these radicals now are in, areas where they don't feel welcomed. And this is a Prussian diplomatic play. And apparently the French are no longer interested in this area. Let me just take a look at something real quick. Has the situation changed? It has. They lost one of the defensive pacts. I don't remember who that was, but the two main countries that we were worried about, France and Russia, are still in the defensive pact. Now, remember, France is an ally, so one person asked, what happens if we attack Mexico? Will they support Mexico, or will the French support Mexico, or will they support us? Because they have divided loyalties there. I would expect, I don't know for sure, we can actually go and test this, but I would expect they would support Mexico, because first of all, Mexico's in their market, I believe. No, now they're in the Russian market. Okay, so they changed markets. Mexico is now in Russia's market. Okay, so that's not a factor, but what is a factor is that we're the aggressor, and they have a defensive pact, so they're obligated to help out those they have a defensive pact, right, before those they have an alliance with. That's what I would think, but the only way to know for sure is to just take a look. And just take a look at it, guys. So at the start of the play, we'll face these enemies: Mexico, Russia, and El Salvador. And the game does what I think is logical. France is put in neither side initially, because they have interest in both countries. If you had two allies, how does the game pick which one you're going to support? In EU4, I think it's like always the defender that's supported. But I think it makes sense to let them choose, and that's what they do. So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I like that. I think that's a better way of doing it. So basically, it'd be Mexico, Russia, and El Salvador, with the chance of all these countries joining, which I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. One of these, do they all have interest here? Because, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, Persia, China, and Morocco in here. Yeah, they could end up joining it as well. I think the majority of those probably wouldn't get involved. But who can say what Britain and France will do here? And you gotta fight Russia. Seems like Russia always has an interest in Mexico, probably due to Alaska. Yeah, I would assume. We're back in the positive now because we're not constructing anything. So, we want to get out of debt, but we got that investment pool we could be spending. I didn't realize that we didn't have anything building right now, so we can go and get something started over here. Use the investment pool at the very least, and let's see what we need the most. Looks like wine is the issue, and I don't know if we can fix that. We can take a look. We'll try. So in the farms, I don't know if we've ever looked at this because we haven't had to, I don't think. You have different choices on what you're going to do for your secondary crop. So you can just maintain the single crop, which is grain. You can instead produce fruit and sugar. be an option as well. Or you can do the wine. So that's your choices here, and it's not the same. It's based on what type of grain farm it is. So in this case, it's the wheat one, and these are our choices here. So as of right now, we have New York doing vineyards, and I think that's it. So we could change those up, but that's just the wheat farms. With the rice farms, you also have a couple options here. You got the figs, which is the sugar and fruit. So again, you see that it's different. So with our corn farms, same options as the wheat ones, but it doesn't look like we're producing a ton of wine here, so we might want to make some adjustments there. And we have a lot of those farms as well, so I think that's probably the best option, is to adjust these ones. So let's just take a look, see where we might want to adjust it. Maybe in DC, get them some more money, have them produce some wine. We already got PA producing wine. We could have, well, Texas is already producing wine. Virginia has level 5 here, so they'd probably make the biggest difference here. But even then, that's not going to be enough, I don't think. So let's do not somewhere that has too many. New Jersey just has one. And maybe Illinois as well. We'll see how that changes things. Fruit might get kind of more expensive, but that could be a good thing, because I think our fruit might be too cheap right now. So yeah, that brought down the cost of wine, and now nothing is expensive in our country, or too expensive. That's some stuff that could be adjusted, and I guess that's what we'll use our production for. Though we do need, but that's not going to be able to use the investment pool. I do want to get more bureaucracy. I think that'd be helpful for us. And we're still not done with our innovation yet. We still need to produce quite a bit more. So eventually, I mean, we'll keep working on that, but it does take time, of course, to get that done. But I still have the issue here. It's actually popped up over this way. And yeah, we might actually see a succession here if we can't get that turmoil down quickly. But I'm not sure of any other options besides the decrees to really helping out there. You know, there's not a whole lot we could do. Incorporating the state would probably help. But yeah, we don't really have the bureaucracy to do that. But maybe that's what we should do. Incorporate it. It's kind of messed up we're incorporating them before we do some of these other states that have been with us for longer, but they're also trying to rebel on us. So this will give them access to all of our institutions. So we have a bunch of institutions that would be helpful here. So these two in particular, 30% state penalties from turmoil reduction, 10% less radicals from stand to living decreases, and of course these ones are going to be a huge one here from the Home Affairs. So I think we can incorporate them. That will also get us access to their taxes, so we can see how much we get from them in taxes. But this takes time, guys, so I don't know if we can get it done in time. In fact, it's going to take 5 years. So I thought it was last time. It was like 2 years or something like that, but it might be based on a variety of different things. Yeah. So it is influenced by several different factors here. So it's going to take a really long time. So we won't be able to get that done in time. So not really the long-term solution we needed here, guys. Oh, and I keep from forgetting that we need to build crap. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to build, and we're going to build more logging camps. Yeah, that makes sense. And clearly more clothes, more engines, and then the rails. And we know we need the lead as well. So there's a lot of stuff that we can work on right now, guys. And maybe we want to build out some of those farms that produce the wine rather than switching all those over. What does our grain look like as far as grain costs go? We've kept grain pretty cheap so far, but it has gone up a little bit. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to start with that just because we have to do it through here in order to make sure that it's a location with wine that's currently working on the wine. And maybe do it in, let me just see here. I was going to do DC, but I don't know if they have the, we'll do it in Texas. Yeah, because I don't know if they have the pops to do it. So just produce one more. It's not going to make a huge difference though, so maybe do one in New Jersey as well. I don't know if those will be profitable or not, but yeah, that'll help out a little bit. So that's what we'll try and fix the wine issues, but yeah, the rest of these are going to have to be done through production. So again, we don't want to produce too much because I do want to climb out of this debt here for the next war against Mexico. You know, we're going to need money for that. So let's do only what we can spend the investment pool on. Now we do have a little stack here, so keep that in mind. They're working on those on the maize farms. But yeah, let's do the logging camps first. We'll see where this is going to be most profitable, I suppose. Looks like Oregon is very profitable, and they already have some there as well, so that would work out. We're going to do some of these places that have a lot of peasants. Alright, so that looks good. We'll get 3 of those going, and we'll see how we're doing when it comes to investment pool once we finish that up. So again, just kind of, we're going to do this kind of slow if we don't want to you don't spend too much money, because again, I'm trying to get out of the hole. And you know, we're never going to perfectly fix our economy, guys. There's always going to be some issue, and right now actually our economy is doing pretty good. There's really no high prices here. There might be some that, I mean, even when it comes to things that are too low, there's really not much that's too low, you know, other than oil, which isn't really something that we make use of. Just that little bit that's used by the pops. But yeah. Everything else is doing pretty good, guys. Fertilizer could be a problem for those chemical plants. I'm sure they're making up for it with the explosives, though, so I'm not too concerned about it. So yeah, just trying to get out of this hole here. And gotta just watch with our production. So we actually aren't producing anything. We got those done pretty quick. So let's go after... Now, I might not have built in locations that actually had hardwood, but maybe not. Maybe they just don't have the pops yet. Yeah, I think that might be what it is. So sugar and coffee have gotten expensive. Okay, so let's produce those. We could do that here. Okay, so I completely missed the fact that they just rose up against us. So that's what affected the economy here. That's why everything changed so much. They rose up against us. I just wasn't even paying attention. I completely missed it. I was so busy messing with our economy there, and yeah, clearly we're gonna have to fight them. So that's a bummer. That happened very quick. So we did not hold on to Cuba for very long before they rebelled against us. All right, so hopefully everybody stays out of this, and then we'll just do a naval invasion, take them out. I think they're not gonna back down here. We should not raise up until the last minute, so we don't have to pay for them. And we're not gonna build anything right now either. Their economy is messed up. I can't really tell what's going on, you know, with the economy because we lost Cuba. So we'll just wait and let's just get out of the hole, or try to, because remember, this war is going to cost money too. So let's go ahead and get the troops raised up. As far as who we are going to raise up, you know, obviously you still can't use him. So you either have to use the Dixie HQ or the New England one with the 19. Probably best to use the 19. How many units do they have access to? Okay, so 19 might be enough. Hard to say, honestly. But what we can go ahead and do is just raise up both of these and leave Robert E. Lee there because he's got the 20. So we won't mobilize all that. So I'm thinking like the 19 and the 10. And then we'll send those. And yeah, we'll have to crush this rebellion. But well, likely, I mean, the issues are still there. We tried to fix them as best we could, and yeah, the issues are not going to change. We're still going to have those problems here. Looks like there's a problem in Ashanti, which we're just going to declare neutrality in. Alright, so we're almost there. We just had a boiler explosion as well. A factory in Illinois has been rocked by a tremendous boiler explosion, with dozens dead or injured. The story of this tragedy has quickly become a national event. So we can say these events are simply the price of progress. The industrialists will gain some strength, which they could really use it. I don't think I need their approval right now. No, not really. But yeah, we'll also piss off the lower strata pops. Instead, support the trade unions there by saying workers should not be exploited and forced into such conditions. Our machines are dangerous. Industry itself is a cancer, which will make the rural folk happy. Yeah, I think we're just gonna go with this one, guys. And Haiti has declared their neutrality. I expect nobody will get involved in this. It's just gonna be us against Cuba. Alright, so the war has broken out. And it should be easy to crush, but the question is, are we just going to face the rebellion again? Which I kind of think that's exactly what's going to happen. So we've gotten these guys all mobilized. So let's go and send the naval invasions to Cuba. And we'll send them both, guys. Just trying to get this war done as quickly as possible, honestly. So that's going to be 50 days here. And yeah, this feels familiar, doesn't it? Here we are in the second episode back-to-back invading Cuba. Luckily, we were still able to be in the positive here, despite having these troops raised up. So that's nice. So I was expecting this would result in us having the credit issues again. And also we have that nice investment pool stacking up, so we can go and build something. I'm just hesitant to build anything because a lot of this isn't accurate. I suppose we can do the stuff we know isn't affected by them, like the hardwood. However, this time we should probably take a look at where we're building this, so that we're not building places that don't even produce much hardwood. I'm looking for the logging camps because yeah, these are different. Some of them are producing hardwood, other ones are not. And so yeah, we should base it off of that. It's like, so build it in New York here. I think that makes sense. And maybe Minnesota. Yeah, I think we actually built in locations that weren't producing hardwood. And now timber could be reduced. Well, the cost of that is not as low as we'd like either. So the invasion has been successful here, but I'm not sure what's going on with the front. Let's take a look. Seems almost like something got messed up here, because yeah, both these guys are on standby again. We're certainly not done here. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. Let's go and make this available here. But yeah, I don't know why, Yeah, I don't know why I can't put my troops up there. That's strange. Can't defend it. I just need to give it a second. I'm not seeing the fronts, honestly. Now, one thing I did want to do, and I completely forgot that I wanted to do this. We'll do it through here, actually. Is see if there's any gold mines. Looks like there are gold mines in both Colorado and South Dakota. So we'll probably want to build this all the way up if we have the... Yeah. We're going to spend money on this, guys. Because this is spending money to make money. This is a good way for us to make some good money through minting. Did the revolution have a revolution? That's what it seems like. I understand now. That's what happened, guys. The revolution had a revolution. So you have revolutionary Cuba, who we're not at war with. We're at war with the Carabeño Uprising. Okay. How's that affect things? I don't know. But here's some of the weird stuff you can see in the game. I've seen nothing quite like this, but stuff like it. It's nothing this exact example, but I've seen some weird stuff happen with the revolutions and stuff, causing problems during wars. Stuff like that. We just got offered peace. And it looks like they're giving us what we want. And I'm not sure we have to accept it because we sent them that same offer. Maybe because we're not getting as much territory. That's what I think. Because I think we're only going to get that. I think that's all we're going to get, guys. We would now have to attack them. Yeah, this is just super unfortunate. Super broken. Because yeah, they're free because they declared themselves a separate state. Like that's not realistic, man. Like Cuba rebelled against us. We're claiming all of Cuba, so we would also be at war with them. But now I would have to actually do, a completely separate diplomatic play on them, and that could result in other people joining. It is what it is, right? I mean, we didn't fight that war for nothing. So yeah, this is just so unfortunate. And watch them bring other people in. That's a real possibility. I hope they just back down, but we'll see. We won't add anything else in here. And yeah, we'll have to mobilize. Yeah, this is consuming all of our time here. Just messing with this. And over here not really building much outside of the gold mines, I suppose. That's going to earn us a lot of money. Cuba back down. Okay. Thankfully, they back down. But again, we might find this being a consistent issue. The Cubans just revolting against us. So they want us to enact cultural exclusion, so that's resulting in more radicals. I mean, look at all the stuff that's happening over here. The Democrats causing us all kinds of problems. Look, they got 3 different political movements. Good grief, the Democrats are getting demanding, and all of these are going backwards here. Supporters of the Democratic Party have gone beyond simply campaigning for their own party, harassing and sometimes physically attacking opposing partisans. Look at them, just causing us problems. I feel like we need to crack down on their activities. Instead, we could let them continue unmolested. Or you say, why should they limit who they target? Go forth and fight the good fight. So, like, support them in it. Now, we're going to crack down on them. This is ridiculous. Just attacking people for their political beliefs. We will not tolerate it. Alright, so let's give Cuba a minute to adjust here, since we just got control of it again. And just see what's going on here, guys. So again, infrastructure is a problem. Because they haven't been able to put their employees back in here. That's what the issue is. So they messed it all up. We were working here to fix the problems, and yeah, it's back to being an issue. I'm going to try and incorporate them again. We'll see if we can get it done. I expect another rebellion here eventually. But turmoil is a lot lower, so there is that. And also, we can go ahead and put those decrees back in place. That would be wise. So we were doing the emergency relief to try and help them out. And then the greener grass campaign. Yeah. Try and get other people to migrate there. People that maybe like our country. I don't know. Don't want to rebel against us. So yeah, having problems with Cuba, guys. We can now get more conscripts. So that number just hopped up to 424. Not that we need more. Or can pay for more. But yeah, have a bit of debt here. Now we're losing money, all the building that we're doing, because we ran through the investment pool. That's the reason why we were able to build, despite all this construction and still, be in the green. I've forgotten that we had a big investment pool, like 500,000 or something like that, and that's what we were making use of. Looks like the armed forces no longer like us. Well, that's a shame. So let me take a look with. Oh, look at that. All right, so we'll take a look at that as well here in a minute. But yeah, I did want to take a look at those gold mines and really pump into the minting here. Whatever we got to pay, I don't care. Dynamite, everything. They will get... yeah, I guess they'll get priorities on rail transportation. And we'll do all these. Everything we have access to right now. Okay, so yeah, let's try and get as much minting as possible, because you can see those profits, guys. So this has unlocked electrical fences for the livestock ranches. So that's going to, it's just another one of those ones that reduces the amount of labors for goods. We got electrical streetlights for the urban centers. So that'll increase services for electricity. Also have some more employment. I don't think that's necessary right now. Services are still, as of right now, cheap. They do get really expensive later, though. And then the power plants, that's what is really unlocking here, so that you can actually start producing electricity. And the only place we can currently will be able to use that is the electric sawmills. There's other techs that will unlock other places that we can use it, and some of these are here, as you can see. But the electric sawmills would apply to logging camps. We'll also get more wood at the price of tools and electricity, and also produce more jobs. So yeah, we need to go ahead and start producing electricity before we can do anything with it, and we know where we want to do that, in New York, where they get this nice bonus from Niagara Falls, a 20% building electricity output. It's not bad there, guys. So that's really where we want to build it. There's not going to be any profit initially. I mean, it says there's going to be a profit there, A little surprising. I guess you could sell it to Pops. Pops will use electricity. If we looked at, like, I don't want to get too into this right this moment. Yeah, if we just like click on a machinist here, and then we just look at like what they're currently buying here, what their needs. Come on, buddy. So it's the heating there, if I can get up there. So with the heating, you can use electricity instead, and it's actually the better way. It's the most costly if electricity isn't too expensive, of course. But it's the preferred method. So they'll try and use electricity over like wood or fabric or coal or even oil. So yeah, the Pops can use it. So there is that. So we've got a building, even though we don't really have the money to build it. Yeah, we're having some trouble getting out of that debt, but we've got a lot of possible credit. 17.8 million. That is based off of your buildings. So they're the ones that are providing that credit to you, which means you are also paying that interest to them. So they're actually profiting. Your people are profiting from that. So yeah, it's not like the interest is just going nowhere and just going to complete waste. It is going somewhere. We're going to be getting the vacuum canning for the food industries. Other level 3 options, electrical capacitors, and that will let us make use of our electricity. So that might be a good one to get next. Probably makes sense, honestly. So we're going to go after that. Be 22 months to get that knocked out. Well, our research really isn't bad right now, even though I'd like to pump it up a bit higher. But yeah, we're actually researching pretty fast. And here on Halloween is where we're going to stop today's episode. So a lot of stuff happened while nothing happened at the same time. We did a lot of stuff with the economy, I suppose, but really we're just dealing with Cuba, trying to keep control of them. If you're looking at them now, we still have the problems with the market. We could fix that with one of the decrees. There's a decree that would fix the market, but I prefer to just get the building there. And the problem is the rails. They're not able to produce all the infrastructure they potentially could. So that's the real issue. Maybe if we can get them to make more money, can have a government run. So bureaucrats instead. Yeah, I suppose that would be an option. They get rid of the capitalists, though. We'll do the publicly traded, I guess. I'm just trying to find some ways we can make them more money. This takes away from the infrastructure. It's not really the best option there. Yeah, they just need to get their cash reserves up, and they're just not making enough, unfortunately. And the problem seems to be engines are too high. Engines are incredibly expensive, so that would explain it. And it might be higher than normal because they don't have the market access. So, yeah, it's one of those things. They need market access to get, full access to our engines, or else they're using, their local market, which is their local market. They don't have any engines. So the engines are more expensive for them. And so they need the engines to build the rails up, but they need the rails to be able to get access to the engines. So, yeah, it's kind of a sticky situation here. And that's where a decree, I think, would be helpful. We could always switch them over to try and get the state access there so they'll get better access to the engines. We could also just reduce the cost of engines even further. That would be an option as well. Because, they're not high, but we'll always need more engines. So I think that's what we're going to do. We'll go ahead and build that up. Because they're at least profitable here. Yeah, they're at least making money. But by building this up, we'll actually lose money. So I wonder if there's anything we could do to improve that situation. I don't think so. They don't really have any production methods open to us right now. Alright, well, we're going to do that anyway. We could always subsidize them if necessary, but I don't think that would be a problem. And we can always build more rails. Just make a higher demand for those engines, too. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy today's episode. If you did, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. Do hope to see you guys on the next one, which, remember, will not be on Monday. We will not have a Monday episode. It'll be on Tuesday. Oh, and look at this. We got a Scandinavia. I just missed this. Wow, I wonder who formed it. I assume it could have been Denmark, but I assume it was Sweden. But yeah, you have a Scandinavia here. And so, that's an interesting development. I don't think I've seen that one before. In Victoria 3, anyways. I've seen that in many other Paradox games. Hearts of Iron 4, EU4, but yeah, I don't think I've seen that in Victoria yet. So that's interesting. Also some situations over here. Prussia's got some problems there. Okay, yeah, we haven't really looked at the rest of the world much, so kind of trying to swing around every once in a while and take a peek. But yeah, I'll see you guys on that next episode on Tuesday, and thanks for watching.